सियावर रामचंद्र की, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, दुर्गा मैया की जय, राधा रानी की जय। Devotees, so close eyes, clasp hands together. Let's meditate on the form of the Supreme Lord, the Divine Mother. As we begin this evening's devotion in such an auspicious time as the Chaitra Navratri, we seek in the blessings of the Divine and focus on our mind as through the medium of divine love, divine prayer, we bring all these blessings inside of us. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Varnanam artha sanghanam Rasanam chandasamapi Mangalanam chakartaram Vande Vani Vinayakau Neelam Bhuj Shamal Komalangam Sita Samarupit Bham Bhagam Panav Mahasayak Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham Braje Vasantam Navanit Chauram Gopangananam Chadukula Chauram Anek Janma Jit Pap Chauram Chauragraganyam Purusham Namami Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Sansar Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hridayar Vinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Manojavang Marutulya Begam Jitendyam Buddhi Matam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukham Shri Raam Dutam Sharanam Prapadye Sarva Mangal Mangalye Shive Sarvat Shadhike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. बोले सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, दुर्गा मैया की जय। प्रिय सज्जनों, प्रिय भक्त समुदाय, महानुभाव, most worshipable, respected elders, dearest devotees of the Supreme Lord, the Divine Souls. First, let me say Radhe Radhe and Sita Ram to everyone. and my pranam, my humblest prostrations to each and every one of you here tonight. Tonight again we have the great blessing, after my last visit, to again be at this wonderful mandir, the Warrenville Shiv Mandir in Warrenville, Kunupia, Trinidad. I want to give thanks to Bhai Anurup Ji, Devi, and all the wonderful devotees of this wonderful mandir for giving us opportunity to join with you again during this most auspicious time. We all know we are in the period of Navratri, Chaitya Navratri. 9 days worship puja is done to the divine Shakti, divine Mother of the universe in all her forms. On the 9th day, the Navami, we celebrate the birthday, the appearance of our beloved Lord, Bhagwan Shri Ram. The day is Ram Navami, the day Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord, appeared in the age of Treta Yuga in this world to bless us. Many people have become devotees of Bhagwan, fallen in love with Bhagwan simply by listening to his divine pastimes through the works of Valmiki Ji, and especially Tulsi Kit Ramayana written by Tulsidas Ji Maharaj. And during my visit this time, I've chosen to do what is known as Raam Gita. In the age of Treta Yuga, Bhagwan, the Lord, appeared in this world as Bhagwan Shri Ram, the supreme power, supreme Brahma. And he stayed here in this world for 11,000 years. During that 11,000 years, once he called everyone in Ayodhya, everyone, and he gave a lecture. And this is known because Bhagwan is given a lecture, is known as Raam Gita. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Ram. Sorry? Bolo Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bolo
Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
एक बार रघुनाथ बुलाए, गुरु द्विजपुर वासी सब आए. बोलो राम,
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Everybody, let's all chant the divine name of Prabhu.
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
बैठे गुरु मुनि अरु द्विज सज्जन, बोले बचन भगत भव भंजन. बोलो राम,
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
जय श्री राम.
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
सुनहु सकल पुर जन मम बानी, कहु न ममता उर करहु न कछु ममता उर आनी. बोलो
Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
नहीं अनीति नहीं कछु प्रभुताई, सुनहु करहु जो तुम ही सोहाय। बोलो राम
सिया राम जय जय राम।
राम सिया राम
जय जय राम।
बोलो
राम सिया राम जय जय राम।
बोलो
राम सिया राम जय जय राम।
राजा रामचंद्र की जय। We can do much better. When we do Jaykar, it means the glory, we say the glory of Bhagwan at the top of our voice. Jai Ghosh. And we are celebrating the appearance of our beloved Lord. So I'm sure we can do much better. Make him happy. Bole Syavar Ramchandra ki. Much better. एक बार रघुनाथ बुलाए गुरु द्विज पुरवासी सपाए. Today is the third day. I'm doing this rendition of Raam Gita. So very briefly, this has been done in detail already, but just for us to catch up back. Very briefly. एक बार रघुनाथ बुलाए. Once, as I mentioned, in 11,000 years, the Lord called everyone in Ayodhya. And he gave a lecture. बैठे गुरु मुनि अरु द्विज सज्जन बोले वचन भगत भाव भंजन. The gurus, the munis, the brahmins, and all the good people of Ayodhya, they came and sat very quietly. Huge crowd. And then the Lord spoke. What did he speak? Bhagat Bhava Bhanjan. The words that removes all the fear in the hearts of the true devotees of Bhagwan, of this endless cycle of birth and death, this hour governed in this material world. There are 8.4 million forms of life. The Jivatma, the individual soul, who we are, keeps rotating in that 8.4 million forms of life. From beginningless time, uncountable lifetimes. So the Lord spoke the essence of all the Vedas and all the scriptures in this lecture of Raam Gita, which brings that knowledge in the heart of a devotee as to how I can become free from this transmigration in 8.4 million forms of life, that I never have to come back in this material world and suffer. Remove all the fear. Suno sakal purjan mamavani kahu na kachu mamata urani. He says, look, list all the people of Ayodhya. Everyone. Listen to my words. I'm not saying this because I have some attachment for you, mamata. When we have attachment, we cause more harm than good. We know someone is doing something wrong, but because of attachment, because we don't want to lose the friendship, because we want to fulfill our selfishness, we just flatter. We give false praise. The child is doing something wrong and yet you don't correct, you don't discipline. Attachment. Bhagwan says, I am not saying this because you are very dear to me. You're my subjects. But I'm not saying this because of my attachment for you. I'm saying what is good for you. There's two kinds of things we can hear. We can hear what we would love to hear. Someone is speaking and he tells us what we want to hear. That's not good. And someone is speaking and tells us what we have to hear, what we should hear. That is good. That we don't like to hear too much. Nahi aniti nahi kachu prabhutai. And he says, I'm not going to say anything wrong to you. I promise you, Whatever I say is based on the Vedas. It's based on the Vedic scriptures. The Puranas. It's based on divine laws. And I'm not telling you that you have to accept because I am your king or I am Bhagavan. Nahi Prabhutai. Not because I say it, you have to do it. Sunahu karahu jo tumahi suhai. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen carefully and do whatever you like. Whatever you feel is good for you, you do. But I'm not commanding that you have to. If I do say something wrong, later on he says, Jao aniti kachu bhashao bhai, tau mohi bar jehu bhaya bhisrai. If you think I am wrong, I'm giving you this full confidence. If you think that I'm saying something wrong, it's not correct, then by all means stop me. Be fearless. Bhaya bhisrai. Leave all fear. And stop me. Hey, mister, this is not correct. No one should tell us that if someone is wrong, then you can correct them. If Bhagwan is saying correct me, then how anybody else can say don't correct me? The Lord is saying. Of course, Bhagwan cannot be wrong, but He's showing us that if I am wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Be fearless. He went on to explain the greatness of birth in the human form. Bare bhagya manushatanu pava suradurlabh saragantha nigawa. It is the greatest fortune. There are 8.4 million forms of life as I mentioned. 84 lakh. 84 lakh. 8.4 million forms of life. And the soul, Jivatma, rotates in that 8.4. But it's the greatest fortune for the one who acquires birth in the human form. That even Devatas, Sur means Devata. Agni, the god of fire. Vayu, the god of wind. Kuber, the god of wealth. Indra, the king of heaven, the god of rain. Devatas, Sur. They are praying and begging to get birth in this thing we call human form. They can't get it. Surudurlabh. Very seldom. The Lord bestows upon the soul birth in the human form. Out of His causeless mercy only. He gives us a chance. Kabahuk kari karuna nar dehi det isha binu hetu sanehi. Bhagwan says, very rare, very seldom. He's saying to the residents of Ayodhya, He's saying to us, that's the Supreme Lord who loves the individual soul without any self-interest. We can't give Him anything. There's not some selfishness that He wants us to like Him or something. When we do something in the world, is because we want something. We're selfish. It doesn't sound nice, but it's a fact. Sarvaha swartham samihate. The scripture says everyone is selfish by nature. We who are namaya, only God and the saints, because they have everything. They have attained everything. They don't need anything from us. They are selfless. So very rare is the Supreme Lord who loves the individual soul without any self-interest bestow upon it birth in the human form. The Lord goes on to say, why? Because this world is called Bhagwan called it Bhavaridhi. Naratanu Bhavaridhi kahu bero, Sanmukha maruta anugraha mero, Karnadhar Sadguru dridhanava, Durlabh saj sulabh kari pava, Jo na tare bhav sagar, Nar samaj as pai, Sokrit nindak mandamati, Atmahan gati jai. Bhagwan is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, this world is a bhava baridhi, an ocean. Baridhi means ocean. Ocean of fear, suffering, mundane existence. To cross an ocean, we need a boat now. There are 8.4 million. I've given you the most competent boat, vessel, the human body. I've also given the favorable wind of my grace, this dangerous ocean. Sanmukha maruta anugraha mero. But the boat cannot go by itself. This is a very dangerous ocean. We need a good boatman, Navik. I've given you the expert boatman in the form of Sadguru, the true saint. Karnadhar Sadguru dridhanava. And yet we make no attempt to cross the ocean of Maya. The Lord says that person is extremely stupid, dull-witted, mandamati, and a murderer of his own self. Atmahan gati jai. Briefly, the 2 sessions were done just to catch us up. We continue tonight. Let's hear what more Bhagwan Shri Ram says to the residents of Ayodhya. आकर 4,84,000 योनि भ्रमट यह जीव अविनाशी जय राम श्री राम
जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम
जय राम ईश्वर अंश जीव अविनाशी चेतन अमल सहज सुख राशि जय राम श्री राम जय
जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय आकर 4,84,000 योनि भ्रमट यह जीव अविनाशी. So first Bhagwan tells the greatness of this thing called human body, Manav Deh, Sharir. This body belongs to us. We're not the body. It's very valuable. So valuable, Devatas are praying for it. We pray to Devatas, Indraya Namah Swaha, Agne Namah Swaha, Vave Namah Swaha, etc. But these same Devatas, they are praying to Bhagwan, begging. Durlabham Manusham Janma, Prarthyate Tirashairapi, Narad Purana. The devatas are praying to Bhagwan, Hey Shri Krishna, Hey Bhagwan, Hey Shri Ram. We are begging you, please bestow upon us birth in the human form. We don't want heaven, there's nothing there. They are praying for so valuable, but it belongs to us. We're not that. It's a material thing. Kshiti jal pavak gagana samira panch rachit yah adham sarira. This body is made of 5 elements. Kshiti jal pavak gagana samira. Kshiti means earth, dirt. Jal, water. Pavak, fire. Gagan, space. Samira, wind. So 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air and space. Just like you see anything in the world, this world, the ground, the wood, anything, this house is all made of 5 elements. This thing we have called the body is made of the same 5 elements. It's dirt. That's why we say when someone dies, Mati. We are going to Mati, dirt. Mati ja rahe. We are very attached to it. And the ignorance is there that I am this. If someone gives you a slap, hey, how dare you slap me? Oh, you call me a fool? But I'm not the body. Look, we say my house, my Muruka. No one says I am the house, I am the Muruka. If you do, you will say he's gaya. Mad, crack, crazy, pagal ho gaya. In the same way, my body is paining me, my head is hurting. Oh, my stomach is hurting so much. So my body, then it means body belongs to me. I am not the body. What am I? So with something called soul, Jivatma, Jeev. Bhagwan Shri Ram says, the Jeev, the Jivatma is Avinashi. Avinashi means indestructible. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kliryantyapo, na shosheti maruta, achedyo yamadahyo makledyo shosha evacha, nityah sarvgarsthara chaloyam sanatanaha. Chapter 2 verse 23 and 24 Gita. Very clear, Shri Krishna says in Gita, no shastra, no weapon can cut it, can hurt it. You cannot shoot it with a gun, you cannot cut it with a sword. No weapon. Not even atom bomb can harm the soul. Nadahati pavakaha, pavak, fire cannot burn it. You go to the cremation ground, you put something on a fire and you burn it. What do you put there? The body, not the soul. Nakledyantyaapo, water cannot wet it. Rain is fallen heavy, you get soaked. Bhig gaye, body is wet. Atma, soul doesn't get wet. Na shoshati marutaha, marut, the wind cannot dry it. It is the same forever. Nityaha sargarstatlum. It is the same forever. It is forever. So indestructible, avinashi, eternal, beginningless. Everywhere. Gyagyo dvavaja vishanisha vaja Heka bhokti bhogyat yukta anantaschatma vishwarupo hyakarta teyam yada vindate brahmame tat shvetashvataropanishad. Chapter 1 verse 9, the Vedas say, Paramatma, Bhagavan, as well as Jivatma, the individual soul, they are Aj. Aj means unborn, eternal, beginningless. Never had a beginning, will never have an end. Na jayate mriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuya ajo nityah shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Chapter 2 verse 20, Gita, Shri Krishna says, Jivatma, the individual soul, never takes birth, nor does it die, nor having come into existence does it cease to be, because it is unborn, eternal, and most ancient. It is not destroyed, even when the body is destroyed. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Indestructible. Jivatma, the soul. But what happens? Because of our actions. So from beginningless time we have been in existence. We have forgotten who we are. Bhul gaya. We have forgotten that I am the soul, the Atma. We have been identifying with this body from beginningless time. This thing we call the body. I am a Trinidadian, I am a Guyanese, I am American, I am an Indian, I am a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, teacher, doctor, engineer, garbage man. So many titles. These are all titles of body. Sharir. The soul, the Atma, has no title. Is not a Hindu, nor Muslim, nor Christian, is not a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Is definitely not a Trinidadian, Guyanese, American, no Indian. Doesn't have any title. But Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Briksham Parikasva Jate Tayuranyah Pipalam Swadatya Nasna Nanyo Abhichakashiti. Shvetashvatara Upanishad chapter 4 verse 6. The exact translation of this Ved mantra is given in Bhagavad. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says to Uddhav Gita, Suparna Vetau Sadishau Sakhayau Yadichayatau Kritanidau Chavrikshe Ekastayo Khadati Pipalana Manyo Niranno Pibalena Bhuyan. 11 canto, 11 chapter, 6 verse. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran. Bhagwan Krishna is saying to Uddhav Gita. There are two birds sitting on a tree. One bird, Jivatma, the individual soul, will people. One bird, Bhagavan, Paramatma. One bird has turned the back to the other one. The position is like this. This is us, the Jivatma, individual soul. This is Bhagavan. We have turned our backs because of ignorance, because we've forgotten who we are. That I am the soul, the Atma. We have turned our backs to Bhagavan. And there are bitter fruits on the tree. The tree is the world. The fruits are the people and objects in the world. We eat in the bitter fruits of the tree and suffering. All we are getting in this world is pain and suffering. Both of these birds are sitting in our heart. Bhagavan is not far. Right here, all we have to do is make a right about turn, left about turn. But because of that ignorance, and haven't forgotten what we are, identifying with the physical, material body, we have been looking for happiness in the world, doing worldly actions. And that binds us, those actions bind us and make us rotate. Akar chari lakh chaurasi yoni brahmat. Brahmat means wander. We keep wandering in 8.4 million yoni forms of life because of the actions we perform in the world that binds us. There are two kinds of action. One material, which binds us in the world, and one divine, which takes us to Bhagwan. Bhagwan Krishna says in Gita, Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitah. Chapter 8, verse 6, Gita. When the soul leaves the body, when we, what you call die, leave the body, the moment the soul leaves the body, that time, whatever we remember at that time, smaran, yam yam vapi smaram bhavam, means we remember. Smaran means to remember. Whatever we remember at that time, that's where we're going to go, what we're going to become in the next life. And what are we going to remember? Whatever we are attached to, whatever we love. And mostly we are attached in the material world. We are attached to the material world. That's what we're going to remember. Don't think you'll remember Bhagwan. The whole life you never had time for Bhagwan. You think you die, you'll remember Bhagwan? If your entire life you have been in bhakti, or you have taken time and devote yourself to Bhagwan, attach yourself to God, then maybe. And if we attach ourselves to Bhagwan, then certainly we'll go to Him. Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatta sanshayah. Chapter 8, verse 5, Gita. Antakale. At the last moment, when the soul leaves the body, when we leave the body, whatever we remember, if we remember Bhagwan, Antakale chamameva. Ma means you remember me, to me. Bhagwan says you remember me, you remember me at that time. Then Arjun, you will certainly come to me. And how we're going to remember Bhagwan? If we love Him, attached to Him. So we keep rotating in that 8.4. In this age of Kali Yuga, we are told in the Ramayana and other scriptures, only one thing we can do, chant the name of Bhagwan. You want to get close to Bhagwan? Attach your heart, your mind to Bhagwan. Chant His glories, meditate on Bhagwan. Let's chant the name of the Lord for a few minutes. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patit Pavan Sita Ram. Raghupati
Raghav Raja Ram Patit Pavan Sita Ram.
O Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patit Pavan Sita Ram.
Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patit Pavan Sita Ram.
Sita Ram Jai Sita Ram Bhaju man pyare Sita Ram.
Sita Ram Jai Sita Ram Bhaj man pyari.
Everybody chant.
Sita Ram.
Sita Ram Bhaju means worship. Sing His praises. Mainly man, mind. Meditate on him while you're doing that. Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Bhajuman Pyare Sitaram.
Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Bhajuman Pyare Sitaram.
और रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम।
रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम।
Chant the name, the praises of the Lord. Raja Ram, he came in this world and performed the divine leela of being a king. Raja Ram, he is topmost among the Raghu dynasty. But Patita Pavan, that Sitaram, that Supreme Lord in the form of Sita, Ma Sita, and Bhagwan Shri Ram, they have come for us fallen souls. By remembering the Lord, we purify our heart, our mind from uncountable lifetimes of sin. Just accept that I am most sinful. Shed tears for him. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patit Pavan Sitaram.
Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patit Pavan Sitaram.
Oh Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Bhajuman Pyare Sitaram.
Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Bhajuman Pyare Sitaram.
Oh Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Bhajuman Pyare Sitaram.
Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Bhajuman Pyare Sitaram.
Oh Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patit Pavan Sitaram.
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 Oh Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Bhajuman Pyare Sitaram.
Sitaram
Chant the name of Bhagwan loudly.
Bhajuman
Oh Pyare, oh beloved one.
Sitaram.
Oh Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Bhajuman Pyare Sitaram.
Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Bhajuman Pyare Sitaram.
Oh Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patit Pavan Sitaram.
Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patit Pavan Sitaram.
Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Raja Ram, Raja Ram, Raja Ram, Raja Ram, Raja Ram.
Raja Ram, Raja Ram, Raja Ram.
Raja Ram, Raja Ram, Raja Ram, Raja Ram, Raja Ram.
Raja Ram, Raja Ram,
सीताराम जय सीताराम भजु मन प्यारे सीताराम
सीताराम जय सीताराम भज मन प्यारी सीताराम।
ओ सीताराम जय सीताराम भजु मन प्यारे सीताराम
सीताराम जय सीताराम भज मन प्यारी सीताराम।
ओ जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम ओ जय जय
सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम।
ओ जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम
जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम।
जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम
जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम जय जय सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम।
सीताराम जय 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 सीताराम ओ सीताराम 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 सीताराम
सीताराम सीताराम सीताराम सीताराम।
ओ सीताराम 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 सीताराम
सीताराम सीताराम सीताराम सीताराम सीताराम।
ओ सीताराम 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 ओ
सीताराम 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 सीताराम।
ओ सीताराम 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 सीताराम
सीताराम सीताराम सीताराम सीताराम।
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम।
सीताराम जय सीताराम भजमन प्यारे सीताराम
सीताराम जय
जय श्री राम
भज मन प्यारी सीताराम।
ओ सीताराम जय सीताराम भजमन प्यारे सीताराम
सीताराम
राजा रामचंद्र की
भज मन प्यारी सीताराम।
ओ रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम।
पतित पावन सीताराम
पतित पावन सीताराम।
ओ पतित पावन सीताराम
पतित पावन सीताराम।
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम।
राजा रामचंद्र की। So this is a knowledge is very important, that we are the soul Atma, we're not the body, and the soul is eternal, beginningless. Why this knowledge is so important? Because from this we will understand what we want and how we're going to attain it. What we want and how we'll attain it. So first we found out I am the soul Atma.
then the soul, ईश्वर अंश जीव अविनाशी, चेतन अमल सहज सुख राशि. Dusraji Maharaj says, the Jivatma, the individual soul, is an ansha, fraction, part of God. We are an ansh. Veda saying, Chinmatram Shri Hareransham Suksham Aksharam Avyam Krishna Dinamatipat Jivam Jnana Gunashayam. Ved. The soul, Jivatma, is an ansha, a fraction, a part of God. Ansho Nana Vyapadeshat Brahma Sutra, Vedant. The Vedanta Brahma Sutra says the Jivatma, the individual soul, is an ansha, fraction, a part of God. Harir Deha Bitamatma Swayam Prakriti Ishvara Tatpar Mulam Sharanyatak Shemo Ninamiha. Bhagavad Mahapuran, 4th Canto, 29 chapter, 50th verse. Bhagavad is saying, the Jivatma, the individual soul, being a fraction of God, that He is the soul of all souls. It's our fundamental nature to love Him. Again, Krishna menam avehitva matmanam akhilatmanam jagadhitaya sopyatra dehiva bhati mayaya. Bhagavad Mahapuran, 11 Canto, 14 chapter, 55th verse. Shukadev Paramahansa is saying to Parikshit, on being questioned, he says, Shri Krishna is the soul of all souls. That the soul is a fraction of Shri Krishna, part of Shri Krishna. Bhagavan Krishna himself says in Gita, he affirms this fact. Mamaivansho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatanaha. Chapter 15 verse 7 Gita. Shri Krishna says the Jivatma, the individual souls, remember that's who we are. He says we are eternal part, fraction of Him, Sanatan. So, what does it have to do with what we want? Well, it's a natural law, Swabhavik Niyam, a natural law, that every part, every fraction has a natural love for the whole and wants to become one with it. All rivers naturally flow to the ocean, being a fraction of the ocean. If you look at the flame of fire, there's so many diyas here. Look at the flame. How does the flame go? Upwards. No matter where that fire is, the flame goes upwards. Why? Because it's a fraction of the sun. In the same way, we the Jivatma, the individual souls, being eternal part, fraction of God, Shri Ram, naturally love and want only Shri Ram. Valmiki ji says in the Valmiki Ramayana, Loke nahi sa vidyeta yo naramanubrataha. Valmiki Ramayana. Valmiki ji says it's impossible to find an individual soul that does not truly love and want God. Tusiraji says the same thing in the Ramayana.
अस को जीव जंतु जग माही जही रघुनाथ प्राण प्रिय नाही जय राम श्री राम अस को जीव जंतु जग माही बोलो राम। जही रघुनाथ प्राण प्रिय नाही बोलो राम। जय राम श्री राम
जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम।
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। अस को जीव जंतु जग माही जेहि रघुनाथ प्राण प्रिय नाही। In this chaupai, Tulsidas Maharaj has mentioned both animate as well as inanimate. Chara achara. And he says that to all of them, Shri Ram, the Supreme Lord, is as dear as life. Pran priyana. Dear as life. It sounds strange. Because we know there are people who believe in God. They worship God. They come to Mandir to do puja in their homes also. They chant Bhagwan's name. And there are people who don't believe in God. They're atheists, Gnostic. They don't believe such a thing called Bhagwan, God. There's something somebody made up in their mind, in their head. Somebody's wife gave them trouble, the children gave them trouble. They left the house, left everything, went in the forest, got crazy. And they invented this thing called a Bhagwan, a God. The people don't believe in God. They will even try to stop other people from taking God's name. So how could the saints, Tulsidas, Valmiki, great saints, they're saying that everyone loves and wants only God. How is this? Because as I said, we're all fractions of God. Look, I'm not going to go in great detail. There's a beautiful katha in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Vedas. There are 4 Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, Atharva Veda. These Vedas are the highest authority, the highest. They're the very words of Bhagavan himself. Nihaswasitamasya Veda. They're the breath of Bhagavan, his breath. Jaki sahaj shwas shruti chari. Bhagavan took a breath and the Vedas appeared. Just as Bhagavan is divine, Ved is also divine. And the most important section of Vedas are called Upanishad. So the Taittiriya Upanishad, in the 3rd chapter, there's a beautiful katha. When I say katha, I'm not meaning story. Kahani is story. Anybody will tell you who knows some Hindi, the word for story is kahani. Sometimes the word katha is used, but katha doesn't mean story. It's mistranslation. It's wrong translation. Katha means that which takes us closer to Bhagwan. Something that Bhagwan has actually done. An incident that took place. We have Bhagavad Katha, Ram Katha. In the same way, this incident happened. There was a rishi by the name of Bhrigu. Bhrigu Ravai Varuni Varunam Pitaram Upasasara. Taittiriya Upanishad chapter 3 verse 1. So this katha is saying there was a rishi
rishi by the name of Bhrigu, before he became Maharishi, he wanted to know who was God. What is God? This question came in his mind. Ye Bhagwan kya bala hai? What is this thing called Bhagwan, God, supreme power, Paramatma, Ishwar? Who to ask? Kisse puchu? So, Bhrigu was the son of someone known as Barun. Barun was Brahma Jnani, know of God. He attained Brahma Jnana, knowledge of God. He attained God realization. So Bhrigu thought, since my father is worthy of being Guru, one who has seen God, attained God, one of the condition of being Guru. Shri Krishna tells us in the Gita, Tadvir pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Chapter 4 verse 34. If you are so fortunate, listen carefully, Bhagavan Krishna is telling us who is a Guru, who is authorized, qualified to be Guru. He says one who has two qualities is put here. Two qualities. Jnaninaha plus Tattvadarshinaha. Jnaninaha means one who has complete knowledge. All knowledge of all the scriptures, all the Vedas, all the Puranas, Gita, Ramayana, Bhagavad, every scripture. Complete knowledge. Not only that, he is able to remove our doubts. Anybody can read book and give lecture like me. But to remove doubt, this is real technicality. The moment he speaks, the doubt gets clarified. Jnaninaha. Plus, and this is even more important, he is Tattva Darshinaha. Tattva means God, Shri Krishna. Darshinaha means seen. One who has seen God. He's attained the divine vision. He has seen God. Attained God. If you're so fortunate to meet such a Guru, what to do? Shri Krishna says what to do. So number one, tad pranipatena. Pranipat means completely surrender to him. Number two, pariprashnena. Ask him question. Yes. Not to see how much you know or to show how much you know, because you have a doubt, you don't know. And number three, sevaya. Do his seva, serve him. He will give you Bhagavan. He will free you from Maya. So Bhrigu thought, this is the person. He is qualified to be Guru. And Shri Krishna is saying, ask him. So Bhrigu decided, I will make my father my Guru. So he made his father Guru. And then, Adhihi Bhagavo Brahmeti. He questioned. As Shri Krishna said, Oh Guruji, hey Maharaj, hey Guruji, please tell me, who is that entity who is called Supreme Power, Bhagavan, Paramatma, Ishwar? Varun, Guruji answered and said, Yato vaimani bhutani jante yena jatani jivanti yat prayantya bhisambhishanti tad vijigyasasva tad brahmeti. Taitira Upanishad chapter 3 verse 1. He says, my disciple, Bhrigu, listen. That from which all beings are born, paida hote hain, jisse paida hote hain. That by which they are sustained, जिसके द्वारा इसका पालन होते हैं, by which they are sustained. And that into which they merge upon that, जिसमें लय हो जाते हैं, that is known as Brahm, Bhagwan, Paramatma, God. That from which, that by which, that into which. Do you understand, Bhrigu? Bhrigu was totally confused. So Guru said, Sa tapo tapyata sa tapaps taptva. Go and do sadhana. Guru directs you, do sadhana. He's going to teach you. Guru cannot do sadhana for us. He can guide us, show us. He will. He's the one who's going to make the vessel, the button, the heart, the mind pure. But we have to do sadhana. So Bhrigu did sadhana, and very briefly, first he discovered Annam Brahmeti Vajanat, Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 3, verse 2. That grain, grain or food is the ultimate reality known as Brahm. So he went to Guruji, Guruji, I have the answer. Oh, what? Food, grain is the ultimate reality known as Brahm. Guru said, no, galat, wrong. Then, tapasa brahma vijigyasasva tapo brahmeti satapo tapyata. Go back and do more sadhana. Do more tapasya. So Bhrigu continued. This time he discovered prano brahmeti vijanat. The pran, the life force, is the ultimate reality known as Brahm. So he went, Guruji, I have the answer now. What? The pran, the life force, is the ultimate reality known as Brahm. We all have to breathe, that by which is sustained. But Guru said, no, wrong. Ooh, then go and do more sadhana. Bhrigu continued, and this time he discovered Mano Brahmeti Vijanat. Man, the mind is the ultimate reality known as Brahm. So he went, Guruji, Guruji, I know now. What? The mind, man, is the ultimate reality known as Brahm. This mind is so powerful. The speed of this mind. In a moment, you can reach from here to all the way India. You can reach in the moon. But Guru said, no, wrong. Ooh, then, sa tapo tapyata sa tapas taptva, do more sadhana. Bhrigu continued, and this time he discovered Vijnanam Brahmeti Vijanat. The word Vijnan here means soul, Atma. The soul is the ultimate reality known as Brahm. So he went again, Guruji, I know now what? The soul, the Atma, is the ultimate reality known as Brahm. But again, Guru said no. Varun said no. Then do more sadhana. So he continued. And this time he discovered Anando Brahmeti Vijanat Anandat Deva Kalvimani Bhutani Jayante Anandena Jatani Jivanti Anandam Prayantya Bhisam Vishanti. Anand. Anand means bliss, happiness. Anand or bliss is the ultimate reality known as Brahm, God. From bliss alone the entire universe comes into being. Bliss is that by which we are sustained, and bliss is that into which we merge upon death. Bhrigu went Guruji and told Guruji. Guru smiled. Yes. Yes, Bhrigu, now you understand. You have discovered. What did Bhrigu discover? He discovered that God is Anand. He is bliss. He is happiness. He is happiness. The Ramayana too says, चिदानंदमय देह तुम्हारी चिदानंदमय
देह तुम्हारी विगत विकार जान अधिकारी। बोलो जय राम
श्री राम जय जय राम, जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम।
चिदानंदमय देह तुम्हारी विगत विकार जानि अधिकारी। The Ramayana says Bhagavan is Chidanandamay. Just as God is Chidanandamay, his body is also Chidanandamay, divine. But to see divine body of God, you have to have divine eyes. So Sat was left out because it is understood to be included in Chit. Look, you've heard God is known by 3 names in the scriptures: Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat means supreme existence. Chit means supreme knowledge. Anand means supreme bliss. So God is also called Sadanand, Chidanand, or just Sat. But why this order of Sat, Chit, Anand? You never heard Chit, Sat, Anand, or Anand, Sat, Chit, or Anand, Chit, Sat. Always this order: Sat first, then Chit, then Anand. Because Sat merges into Chit. So Chit contains both existence as well as knowledge, and Chit, Sat and Chit merges into Anand. So Anand contains all 3 of existence, knowledge as well as bliss. So this is why God is being called only Anand. Sat and Chit are understood to be included already. The point is, God is Anand, Anand is God. Whether we say Anand, which means happiness, or we say Bhagavan, there are 2 names for one and the same entity. Shri Krishna is Anand, bliss, happiness, and happiness is Shri Krishna. Now, remember, every part, every fraction has a natural love for the whole and wants to become one with it. We, the individual souls, are eternal fractions of Shri Krishna. It means we naturally love and want only Shri Krishna. And because Shri Krishna is happiness, Anand, bliss, we all want only happiness. Every action we perform in the world, everything we do, no matter how opposite or how contradictory. Somebody is drinking alcohol, somebody is doing puja, somebody is giving dhan, charity, somebody is killing someone, somebody is smoking weed, somebody is drinking panchamrit, drinking milk, somebody is sleeping, somebody is running. No matter what action you perform, it's all for wanting only Anand, bliss, happiness. Everything we do, it's our nature. Being fraction of happiness, we can't help it. But, so why haven't we found happiness? Remember, we, the Jivatma, the individual souls, are eternal, beginningless. Just as God is unborn, eternal, beginningless,
we, the Jivatma, the individual souls, are also unborn, eternal, beginningless. It means we have taken birth in human form uncountable times. Then how come we have not found true happiness even tiniest drop, even once, even in dream? Because of that ignorance of we have forgotten who we are, forgetting that I am the soul Atma. Because we have been identifying with the physical material body from beginningless time, thinking I am the body. That ignorance that I am the body, this thing called a body, sharir, this body is material. So if I am the body, then I look for happiness in the material world. Body is material, it needs the world. Body is made of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air and space. The world is made of the same 5 elements. So body needs the world. Tana binu bhajana ved nahi barna. This body, we have to give it the right amount of vitamins, mineral, protein, everything it requires in the right amount. Not too much, not too less. Or else it's going to suffer. In the right amount. Don't give it the wrong thing. You're going to pay the consequences. Eat too much chips, too much pizza, junk food. You will get sick. The Guru says, eat steamed vegetable, boiled takari. Don't deep fry. Do not fry. Oh Guruji, it can't go down. And then one day you go to the doctor, doctor tests you, you have diabetes. Ooh. Okay, from today, no more fried food. No more sugar. Ooh, how am I going to drink the coffee, the tea? No more sugar, no more white flour, no more white rice. Yes, I'll do anything you want, Dr. Ji. Because I want to live. When Guruji told us, we didn't listen. You will suffer the consequences. As of this tongue is dangerous. As they say, we're going to eat, drink. And we end up drinking and eating the worst thing. We know it is not good. And we end up getting all kinds of sickness because we don't pay attention. Eat natural, original. Try not to destroy food and then eat it. Wholesome, sattvic. You'll see, disease, sicknesses won't bother you so much. So keep the body healthy. But the body belongs to me. I'm not body, I'm soul, Atma. So we have to keep the soul, the Atma, healthy also. Body is material, we give it material things. We have been looking for happiness because we identify with the body. We need the world. Look, this world was created by Bhagwan. This is His grace, one of His greatest grace. Because without the world, we can't exist. This body needs the world. In order for us to live, to be healthy, to keep the body healthy, Bhagwan created the world. But not understanding the usefulness of the world, that we have to make use of it in the right way, we started enjoying the world, looking for happiness. And doing all kinds of wrong things. So, we've been looking in the wrong place. Anyhow, now the soul Atma, we heard from the beginning, it is divine. Being a fraction of Bhagwan, Bhagwan is divine. Janma karma cha me divya mevam yo veti tattvataha. Bhagwan Krishna says in Gita, my birth as well as my action, they are divine. I am divine. Divya. What does divine mean? That which is not material, not worldly is divine. What to actually understand what divine mean, we will know when our intellect, our mind becomes divine. For now, just accept that which is not material, which is not worldly is divine. And that's who we are. So body is material. We give it material things. Rice, dal, bhaji, roti, soup. And people give other things also. Now, can we give some rice and some soup and some bread and some roti to the soul Atma? Jeev, who we are? No. Why? Because it's divine. So we have to give it divine food. Divine food. Bhagwan is telling us we have to give divine food to the soul Atma. Just as we eat the right kind of food and we exercise. Those who are a little bit smart, they exercise every day at least half an hour to keep the body healthy. In the same way, we have to keep the soul, Atma, healthy. We sit down, do meditation, do dhyan, meditate on Bhagwan, meditate on the Divine Mother. Attach your heart, your mind to Bhagwan. Chant the divine name of the Lord, the Divine Mother. Do bhakti. That's His food for the soul, Atma. Let's do bhajan as we talk about the food for the soul, Atma. Page 25.
राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा भजो. Chant the name of the Lord, the Divine Mother, Radha Rani, Durga. Chant the name of the Divine Mother, the Lord. Meditate on the Lord. Stop being lazy and foolish. This is where you will find the true happiness. This is the food for the soul, Atma Huya. Radhe Radhe Govinda Bhajo. Radhe Radhe Govinda.
राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा
दो सदगन चित घन, दो सदगन चित घन सुख खंदा. राधे राधे गोविंदा. ओ भजु मन युगल चरण अरविंदा. राधे राधे गोविंदा.
भजु मन युगल चरण अरविंदा. राधे राधे गोविंदा.
ओ राधे राधे गोविंदा भजो. राधे राधे गोविंदा.
राधे राधे गोविंदा भज
ओ राधे
राधे गोविंदा.
Bhaju bhaju be. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate and say I'll do tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. Do it right now. Bhaju bhaju bher na karu mati manda. Radhe radhe govinda. Bhaju
भज करुमति मंदा. राधे राधे गोविंदा.
ओ युगल चरण को मनहु मिलिंदा. राधे राधे गोविंदा.
युगल चरण को राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ राधे 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 गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
Taju chal chanda mati manda, O foolish mind, give up all this deception, deceit, fraud. Make the heart pure, do bhakti, meditate on Bhagwan, chant His divine name. Taju chal chanda bhajumati manda, taju chal chanda bhajumati manda, radhe radhe govinda।
तजु चल चंदा भजमति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
राधे राधे
राधे
भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
हरि गुरु मानु एक मति मंदा। When you find the true Guru, the true saint, one who's attained Bhagwan, that Guru is Bhagwan himself personified. They are one and the same. Hari Guru Manu, O Hari Guru Manu ek mati manda, Radhe Radhe Govinda।
हरि गुरु मानु एक मति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
तेरी गति मति रति मति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
तेरी गति मति रति मति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ राधे 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 गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
The Supreme Lord, the Divine Mother, they are the soul of all souls. We are fractions of them. That's why only by attaining them, loving them, we'll attain true happiness. आत्मा की आत्मा मति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
आत्मा की आत्मा मति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
O foolish mind, the Divine Lord, the Supreme Divine Mother, they are extremely merciful. Supremely, just take shelter in them. They'll give everything to you. दो कृपालु है अतिमति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा। दो
कृपालु
अतिमति मंदा,
राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ राधे 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 गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
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 ओ राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
राधे राधे गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। This is the aim of life, devotees.
Bhagwan Shri Ram is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, understand who you are. That you're the soul Atma. We're not the body. This ignorance of not knowing who we are, identifying with the physical body, is the reason we have been rotating from beginningless time in 8.4 million forms of life. And we'll keep rotating. Iha ched dashakat bodhum prak sharirasa visasaha tatha sargeshu lokeshu sharirattvaya kalpate. Kathopanishad, 2nd Canto, 3rd chapter, 4th verse. The Vedas say, O human beings, immediately try to attain the aim of God realization. Know Bhagwan, know the Lord, the Divine Mother. Otherwise, we'll have to continuously rotate in that 8.4 million forms of life as ordained by divine law. It is extremely difficult, rare to attain birth in this human body. Sargesh. The word sarg here in this Ved mantra means kalp. After many kalps, what is a kalp? 12 hours of Brahma. 4,294,080,000 years our time. 12 hours of Brahma is called a kalp. And Sargeshu, plural, after many kalps. Bhagwan showers His grace, His causeless mercy. Bhagwan Himself is saying, Kabahu kari karuna nardehi det isha binu hetu sanehi. He's saying to the residents of Ayodhya, very rare, very seldom, there's a Supreme Lord who loves us, the individual soul, without any self-interest, bestow upon us birth in the human form. It's so rare and so difficult. We have a golden opportunity. This body is very important. That's why Devatas are also praying for it. And we have it. We don't understand the value of what we have. One question, I want to finish here, but one question was asked by Kag Basundaji to Kag Basundaji in the Ramayana. There's a very famous katha, Sapta Prashna. 7 questions were asked, very important. But the most important one, Garuji asks Kag Basundaji the first question.
प्रथम ही कहा नाथ मति धीरा सब ते दुर्लभ कवन शरीरा बोलो राम
राम राम राजा राम 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 बोलो राम 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 राजा राम राम राम
नर तनु सम नाही कवनी हुदेहि जीव चराचर जाचत जे बोलो राम राम
राम राजा राम 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 बोलो राम राम राम
राजा राम 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 ओ बोलो राम 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 राजा राम 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 ओ बोलो राम 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 राजा राम 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 राजा रामचंद्र की जय.
Kag Basundaji was asked by Guruji. First question. Prathama hi kahu nath mati dhira sabate durlabh kavana sarira. First of all, Guruji, O strong-minded master, tell me, What is the rarest and most difficult birth to attain in the 8.4 million forms in the whole world? Very important. Because if we understand the value of this thing we have, which is called human birth, human body, we will not go in the wrong way. No one will ever even think about committing suicide. Kagba Sundarji answered and said, Nar tanu samanahi kavani hudehi Jiva charachar jachat jehi. O Guruji, there is no form equal to the human form, Naratan. It is so valuable. Char achar, animate as well as inanimate beings, devatas even, desire to get birth in this human form, because only in this we can do bhakti. Only in this we can become free from this endless cycle of birth and death. We can attain the ultimate aim of life. There's much more, but I will end the katha here tonight. Bole Syabar Ramchandra ki jai, Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai, Umapati Mahadev ki jai, Pavan Sutta Hanuman ki jai, Durga Maiya ki jai, Radha Rani ki जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे.